is 90% bullshit. But it's entertaining. That's why I read it, because it entertains me. You won't let me read it. So you entertain me with your bullshit. Tell me a story right now. Go.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber die trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you see the clip. I'm gonna try to make a bunch of bullet points because I think people are full of it. Obviously, y'all never been to a track meet before. So if you're at a track meet, people have tents, and it rains sometimes. And when it rains, people just scatter for shelter. So to be in a tent that's not your team's, under a tent that's not your team's is not abnormal. You try not to do it, but it's not abnormal. Okay, and it's not a sign of disrespect, and it's not picking a fight. It's a thing that happens because sometimes these tents blow over. So your whole team could be under a tent and it blows over, and then y'all run to another tent. You get what I'm saying? And that's why it's a normal thing because 1 week, 1 week it rained and your tent blew over. A couple weeks later, you had another meet and your tent stands up and somebody else's tent blows over and they come to your tent. It's a normal thing. Okay. Because sometimes people go behind the bleachers, they just go everywhere for shelter. So that's normal. Second, I guess y'all understand track culture also in this way. Think about it in this sense. When's the last time you heard of a fight break out at a track meet between actual athletes at a track meet? Seriously. You've seen it at football games with players and family. You've seen it at basketball games, on the court, off the court, with players, family, friends. You've seen that hockey, on the ice, in the crowd. You've seen that wrestling, boxing. You've seen that there. But ask yourself a question. When's the last time I've ever heard of a fight breaking out at a track meet? That's not track culture. It's really not. Track is competitive, but it ain't really aggressive. You get what I'm saying? It's not. So it's very abnormal. Very, very abnormal. I've seen in the last 20 something years, 30 years, there've been more fights at band competitions than at track meets, if I'm not mistaken. Because I can't think of any off the top of my head. And I've been to track meets. Ran track, grade school, high school, college. Can't think of no fights. So that's the thing. The other thing, it's weird that there's no footage. But it's weird, but it's not weird because it's weird because people have phones and they record everything when something goes left. And these teenagers and adults but now all of a sudden, it leaves everybody to speculate. But at the same token, it's a track meet. So sometimes, especially when it's raining, people put their stuff in their bags. So it's not it's also one of those things that could possibly happen where, people don't want their phone to get rained on or whatever. So it's possible. It's possible. The other thing, a lot of y'all are being hypocritical. I live in Texas. I've been in Texas 25 years. So, he brought a knife to a school in Texas. Like, bro, it's Texas. It's like, knife at a school in Texas, I get it. It's a weapon in school, but it's Texas. Go to the parking lot. You're going to see cars and trucks full of guns that ain't supposed to be on school property, but it's Texas. So, because it's at a track meet, nobody's really thinking it that way, And so that's one other thing, you Texas, we're Texans, we're going to defend ourselves. You don't tread on me. And then all of a sudden stuff like this happens and people go, oh, why? How does this happen? It's like, it's unfortunate. Definitely unfortunate. I'm not I'm not minimizing that, but you got to pick a side with that. You know what I'm saying? You do. The other thing, um, y'all got to pick a side with self defense too. You know, y'all like a lot of y'all play this game where because to call this murder, it's not murder. At the you know this is how we're gonna play this game. The best I can give you is manslaughter because it's not first degree murder, it's not second degree murder. It's really you could go with manslaughter. You get what I'm saying? The teenagers that attract me, but if you reverse the roles and it would have been Carmelo that got stabbed, it'll be y'all will say it's self defense because it was a white guy fighting off a black guy. That they're both teenagers, but so it's hypocrisy, huge hypocrisy. Because I'm saying this as a grown black man. If somebody approached me out somewhere and picked a fight with me as a black man and they were white or Hispanic or Asian and they started a fight and I knock them out or I beat them so bad that they pass away, I already know they're gonna blame me for it. Because they're gonna say it's not self-defense when it's self-defense, because if you're black, you're not supposed to defend yourselves from non-black people. You get what I'm saying? That's people's subconscious issue, you know, because if in this scenario, it keeps coming out that, they really started it with him. I understand the tent thing, but the tent thing is like it's not as bad as y'all think. Like being under a tent is not like, you know, walking in somebody's house like I'm here. That's not that. It's not that. It's the equivalent of say it rain. You're walking out. You want to walk out of a store, and it rains, and y'all standing in that little archway before the street, and somebody has an umbrella, and they got a big umbrella, and they look at you and say, you want me to walk you to your car? And you go, yeah. And then somebody walks up and go, hey, what you doing under this umbrella? That's how that really is. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't. It's unnecessary. The other thing, um, don't be surprised. It's just a hunch. Don't be surprised that this situation wasn't really started by just Austin walking up out of the blue, or him and his brother walking up out of the blue. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if it's not a thing where, Carmelo probably knew somebody, or the coach said it was cool to be under the tent because it was raining, and somebody else on the team, went to Austin and was like, I don't like him in there. Like, don't be surprised if that isn't a part of this conversation. You get what I'm saying? So that's a whole nother thing. A lot of y'all putting this racial spin on stuff. It's really because, and this is the hypocrisy of it. Let me whether you're white and you raise baiting, or you black and you raise baiting. If you were Carmelo, you would say it's self-defense. Let me just be honest with you. That's what you would say. You would say, "Hey, man, you can't just a black guy and his brother walked up on me and told me to move, and it's like, well, I was in fear for my life. I was in fear for my safety. I had to do something. The idea when somebody said, well, you could have just got up and left. You could have, but you don't have to. You get what I'm saying? You don't have to. So a lot of y'all playing games. Should the young man have died? No. I'm sorry. I mean, my condolences to his family, man. This was a situation that didn't have to happen at all. But you folks out in society are making it worse than it is. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, because y'all want to push a narrative. Y'all want to push a narrative so bad that reality skips you, because reality changes when the race changes. Rules change when the races change. Consequences change when the race change. And the same people that say in one breath, one person is self-defense, saying when you change the race, it's murder. You know what I'm saying? And that's become that, and that's the bigger issue with all of this is just as a black man, it's so normal to see this, where a lot of y'all expect that there's a white rule book in America that's under all the laws, and then there's a black rule book, you know. And the law says all these things, especially when somebody who's white is doing something against somebody black. But if that same situation happens when it's a black person and a white person, those same laws don't really apply the same way. There's always a caveat, or we're gonna nitpick this and nitpick that, and this is not how it is. See, that situation is different than this situation, and yeah, we viewed it this way with this one, but we're gonna view it this way with that one, but it's the same thing, really. Well, it's not really the same thing. Well, why isn't it the same thing? Well, because it's a racial element. And then y'all say, don't make everything about race, and you shouldn't. But y'all can't help it. Y'all can't help it. And then and then what you think? You're gonna put this on the TV. The TV gonna say murder, 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 murder. Social media gonna say murder, 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 murder. And then you're gonna hear self-defense, self-defense, self-defense. And then the judge and the jury gonna be sitting there, and they're already making their judgment as is. So let's just say, people are mad that the kid got a GoFundMe. People helped him with his lawyer fees because he's supposed to go under the bus. And it's like, bro, what do y'all expect? Like, let me say it this way. A few years ago, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, you remember that fight that broke out at that riverboat in Alabama? People, who people were the most mad at? The guy that was hitting people with the chair. They were never mad at the white guys who were jumping the old black guy. They weren't really mad at that. They were mad at all the black people who started whipping up on them white people. Because they went from jumping the old guy is fair game. People even in the score because it's black versus white is unfair, and people beating them is way unfair. And this is the same type of scenario, unfortunately. But y'all tell me what you think, man. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
All I ask is when you lay your head on that pillow at night, know I gave you everything I had.